Hello and welcome to Femme Fatale show by Helen. Today, myself, I am so excited and I do have palpitation because I am sitting in front of this woman that she is a goddess to me. She's so powerful, she's so beautiful, she's so intelligent. She's someone that I look at her as a role model. So, welcome. Thank you so much, Toni Ko. I really appreciate you coming here, and this means so much to me, and I don't know what else to say. Please introduce yourself.
Oh my gosh, Helen, I want to start by saying how grateful I am to be invited here. I love you.
Thank you.
Well, my name is Toni Ko. I'm the founder of NYX Cosmetics. I am a serial entrepreneur. So I'm on my third company, but NYX Cosmetics was a company that I founded when I was in my mid-20s. Ran the company for 15 years and had an amazing exit to L'Oreal. And from that point on, I just continue building brands and companies. And my current company, Bespoke Beauty Brand, is it's a beauty incubator.
Wow.
I have launched 4 brands in the last 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but two of our star brands are Jason Wu Beauty and Kimchi Chic Beauty. I brought some sample for you.
Oh my God, thank you.
Love it.
Thank you. So, Toni, the reason that I want to have this type of interviews is I want to introduce to the world, to the girls, how amazing it is to be someone like you. I think girls need to have role model. Girls need to see how tangible is to see people like you in order they can change their perspective in the world. And it says, oh, this is a person that I want to become to. This is a role model that I want to choose for myself. We need people like you. We need people that they can empower other people. You're beautiful. You are powerful, you're strong-minded, you're just creative. Like when I met you first time, like me and myself, I was like, how is this real? And it just being able to sit here and it just being empowered by watching someone like you, it gives me power to be who I want to be. So that's why I want to have interview with someone like you. I think just fascinating. You're a real person. You're a real powerful woman. I want to ask you, how did you become Toni Ko?
Well, before I answer anything, like I'm wearing a big smile on my face because everything you have said right now, I'm like, girl, look at yourself. I feel like you just described yourself. So there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
The question was,
how did you become Toni Ko? How did you start?
I have to say I'm a product of myself, making myself. I basically raised myself. I spent a lot of time alone growing up. And I also spend a lot of time alone nowadays as well. And I just create myself.
That's so powerful.
It's very simple, actually.
It's simple.
Yeah, I just imagine I was having this conversation with my friend too. That I've always been a daydreamer. Like because I spent a lot of time by myself. So I used to, as a child too. So I used to just sit there and just daydream about like different things. And you know what I realize is nowadays people call it manifesting. But everything that I had dreamt of became my reality.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's creating something out of nothing, and it all starts in your mind first.
Wow. Did you came from a rich family?
So it's very complicated. My family story is very complicated. So I was born into wealth, but then my father lost the family business. So I would say I was born into a very wealthy family, probably till I was like 5 or 6 years old. And then I experienced extreme poverty because we had lost everything. And this is the 1970s in South Korea. So I was born and raised in South Korea. And there was no bankruptcy protection. So that means if you lose a family fortune, then you just basically lose everything. So we lost everything. So we went from living in a mansion to a rented 1-bedroom room, not even like a 1-bedroom apartment, 1-bedroom room in somebody's house. And I think I was like about 6 or 7 years old by then. Oh no, maybe a little bit older, maybe like 7, 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I've experienced that. And I've also experienced being middle class because my family moved to U.S. in 1986. I was 13 years old, and we started a small business. So we were kind of like a solid middle class. And my mom was a very good businesswoman, and we built the family business up, and we became maybe like an upper middle class. And I started my own business when I was 26. I was a self-made millionaire by the time I was 27, and just kind of like from that point on just grew my net worth, and now I am a wealthy person. So I feel like I've experienced every flavor and color when it comes to the financial aspect of a person's personal life.
That brings me, like, I want to ask this question. What triggered in you saying, like, because let's say you were upper middle class family, what triggered in you and says, I am very exception and I want to be that entrepreneur that goes to the next level? What did you see yourself? How did you feel?
Well, I actually never thought I was exceptional by any means.
But your power, but your strength.
I did not know my strength. I did not know my power.
Interesting.
I was just a very stubborn person.
Oh,
my mom used to call me an ox.
Okay.
And my mom's biggest cursing to me was, one day I wish you had a daughter exactly like you.
Oh my God. Okay.
That was my mom's biggest curse to me. But yeah, I never knew I actually did not know my full potential and my capability until recently, actually. But I had this innate belief in myself. I don't know where that came from. But what I had was, this weird belief in myself, great work ethic that I learned from my mother, an amazing discipline that I learned from my father, and just this imagination. That's all I had.
I see.
That's all I had.
That's very powerful. Okay. So with what you watched, can you say then you had some good role model? You watched a good role model and you got some work ethic, learned some work ethic and creativity from them.
Yeah. Well, it's very complicated. My childhood story is very complicated. There were a lot of pain during my childhood as well. Experiencing poverty was like very painful too, like at a very early age. And what I saw was, I think number one, what I saw was I saw the devastation that it caused once we became poor. So going from wealthy to poor, and then seeing the family dynamic change. Okay. So I feel like the first 5-6 years of my childhood, like if I could paint it in color, it would be yellow, like the shirt that you're wearing, like a happy color. And then it just went dark, boom, boom, boom. And then I had tied that with being poor. So I had this fear of being poor, actually, because that meant my mom's crying and my dad's angry and like all things that is unhappy was after.
Okay.
But I was so young that I didn't even realize. I couldn't relate what it was, but I knew that not having money was a sadness. Okay. Like that's how it was translated to me. That, and then my father, and this is from like the old Korean world, like that old ancient like Asian world. Like he's a Stoic, he's Confucius, and he's a Buddhist, and he also used a very very deep corporal punishment, and we were expected to perform like little soldiers. It's almost like, have you watched the movie The Hills Are Alive, The Sound of Music?
Okay.
And Captain Von Trapp and his children, it was almost like that. My dad always said he wanted to raise little Spartans as his children, where only the strongest survive. So he would push us mentally, he would push us physically, he would push us to perform, but almost to a unacceptable standard. So he used to use corporal punishment, but if we got an A, we got beat up because we didn't get an A plus.
Ooh.
Like that level.
Ooh.
And he used to make these 24-hour pie chart of our days. So we wake up at 6 a.m. to 6, like, and it was broken down to like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Like at this hour you're washing your face, at this hour you're eating breakfast, at this hour you're studying, and anything that was besides going to school was we had to read. Book requirement was 2 books a week, and like these unexpected,
Wow.
like from a child, like no playtime was allowed. I had gotten only 1 doll as a gift in my entire childhood. The only gift that we got were books. So
Wow.
but I read a lot, which is
Wow.
great.
Wow.
And so the kind of like, someone to look up to and things like that is I grew up reading a lot of nonfictions. So, stories of amazing leaders and entrepreneurs and the war generals and like just like things like that. I guess it kind of like
I see.
Like
It
embedded-
resonated. Okay,
yeah,
embedded
embedded
with
in me.
you. Okay.
And once my father had lost the family business, and then surprisingly, my mom became a breadwinner. And it turns out my mom's an amazing business person.
Very nice.
Yeah. She's never ran business before, but she just knew how to talk to people and just how to manage stress. And like she had this like amazing work ethic, and she just knew like, so my mom's like she's like a social butterfly. She's like
Very nice.
that extrovert in the family. Like she has like literally 1,000 best friends. And she just happened to be this amazing business person, and so she became the breadwinner. And we moved to United States. She started a small business, and around her were all these like women business owners. When you look at a lot of the immigrant family, you will see that actually it's always the woman. That's the core of the engine of a household. And so I grew up seeing all these female entrepreneurs running small like bodegas or small businesses, or like doing whatever they could do to put food on the table for their children. So it was very natural for me to look at like female entrepreneurs and female business owner, because that's what I saw growing up. So when I became a business owner myself, I never thought of myself as a woman business owner, a female business owner. I just owned a business.
I see.
So I never considered myself anything else than a business owner.
Okay. One thing through talking to you, it triggered in me that you chose good role model for yourself since you were a child, either through book or watching your mom or watching other business owners. You like from your childhood, like you understood, you saw strength in other people, how they managed what they want to do in life, and then you kind of copy paste, or in your brain, like, this is what I want to be, this is who I want to become, because you grasp on a good role models. How important is to have a good role model in life?
Well, I think it's very important because we are very human being. We're very visual people, right? And when you see people, if you could imagine yourself being in their shoes, and it's like the world is an infinite possibility. Knowing that you could be whatever you can be, doesn't matter where you're from,
Absolutely.
what you are, like
Absolutely.
what you've been told.
Yes.
If you could see something and imagine yourself in that role, in that position,
Then you will achieve it there.
yeah, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's actually really simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toni, someone as strong as you, as powerful as you,
I've never thought of myself as strong or powerful.
how I see you,
Well, thank you.
how so many other women or men will see you like that.
Thank you.
Like, I want to also show that you're also human. right? You're also a human with all other emotions that everyone else feels, right? For example, everyone feels like, oh, but I have so much fear. I have so much like insecurities. I have so many of these feelings. I don't know how to manage my feelings and I can't overcome my feelings. Do you have fear? Do you ever get fear from what you want to do? And if you do, how do you handle your fear?
Of course, it's all day, every day. I think everybody's the same. Like, for instance, I have fear of coming on a podcast. I have fear of being filmed.
Oh, wow.
I don't like my voice. I don't like how it sounds. I don't like how I look on camera. I look
Someone as beautiful as you.
No,
Okay.
I see myself on camera and I'm like so critical of myself, and yeah, and
So you're so hard on yourself.
I'm very hard on myself. I have to. I have become a lot softer as I've aged, but I'm very, very critical of myself and very hard on myself. And you know what I realize is it's not my criticism, it's not my voice, it's my parents' criticism and their voices
I see.
that's living inside my body. So
I see.
I've been working now like many years of like trying to disassociate and like detach myself from like
Interesting.
these negative beliefs and negative
Interesting.
thoughts and negative voices. But yeah, so where was I? But anyway, yes, it's fear. Why do I have this fear? Because number one, why do I have fear of podcasts? Number one, I swear to God, I feel like, oh my God, like inside my head, this is my voice inside my head. Oh my God, people are gonna hear me talk, and then they're gonna think they're gonna find out how unsmart I am, you know, or they're gonna see me on camera, and oh my God, like people are gonna think, oh my God, she's ugly, she's overweight, like her voice is screechy, like all these negative thoughts, these voices in my head. But what I've realized is, for me to get over my fear, I have to go do it. That's the only way one can overcome and crush your fears. And so it's not something that I enjoy. Am I sitting on this couch and like completely comfortable? Absolutely not. But hey, you know what? I brought myself here, and I'm just gonna give it my best and do the best that I can.
So you feel the fear and you just deal with it.
You have to.
You have to,
because otherwise it goes into the fear bank. And then this fear bank starts generating interest, and it just becomes heavier and heavier and heavier. So the only way to overcome it is by looking at it straight in the eyes and say, hey, you're not going to own me. I am your owner, or you're under my control. I'm not under your control. You know?
Is that the voice in your head? What is that voice in your head? You know how we all on a daily basis we have that self-talk. There's this self-talk in us that every time we fall, that self-talk help us to get up, put us back together. Every time I get heartbreak, like that voice put me back together. It says, it's okay, cry. It's okay, go through it. Go through the pain, feel the pain, and then but I pick up myself again.
Yeah.
There is that self-talk. Tell me about your self-talk, that voice in your head.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, before I like really started to work on myself and like on this like healing path and healing journey, I was consumed. I was powered by negative self-talk and fear. Actually, that was my driving force. But you know, I realized that it could only go so far. By having fear drive you. It drives at such a high speed, inevitably it's going to crash at one point. You're going to crash this car at one point. So you need to learn to manage it and put it on cruise control and just like cruise and just flow, right? So I was thinking about this earlier this morning actually too. There are some fears that's actually good for you.
Yeah. I have to
Because
agree.
it saves you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what we need to start like really, and this is where meditation comes in really handy, is because you sit and then you watch your thought go through, and then you start disassociating yourself and you start identifying which fear is a friend, which fear is an enemy.
I want this to be in the social media. Okay, one more time. Recap on what you said.
Yes.
Okay, tell me.
So really watching your fears and then start identifying which fear is your friend and which fear is your enemy. And if it's a fear that is your friend, invite it into your life and say, hey, thank you for being there. Like literally, come and stay with me because you're my protector. And then those fears that are your enemies, these are false narratives. And those say, boop, out of my life. You no longer serve me. So I think that's the most important.
Give me an example of one or two fear that you kick them out of your life.
Oh gosh, this constant imposter syndrome. I used to always worry, like, I used to always think like, oh my God, you're so stupid. People are gonna find out how stupid you are. Like this voice that was talking to me. Eviction notice has been served.
I see.
Or like I've always had body issues. So I used to always think that I was overweight. It didn't matter whether I was 100 pounds or 120 pounds, 130 pounds. In my mind, I always struggled with my weight, and I was obsessed with my weight. Like it would be in my conversation 10, 20 times a day.
Yeah.
Like things like that.
Yeah.
Eviction notice has been served.
Very nice.
But friendly fears, such as I'm a little bit of a germaphobe and a neat freak. It could cause some hindrance, like if it goes overboard, but it's a good fear because it keeps me healthy because I live a very clean life.
Very nice. Okay.
Things like that. Or like having your space tidy and organized. It's good for your lifestyle because it declutters inside your mind.
I see.
So those are my friendly fears.
Okay.
And those I invite in.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, like you were so vulnerable. You almost put me to tears. And coming from a woman like you and saying that, I just want to tell you this. Only a strong person can be vulnerable. Only a strong person can sit in front of camera and say, this is my vulnerability and this is what I think. But if I want to tell you this, like you can't hurt me. Like, Yeah. So I want to acknowledge that with you. I want to acknowledge this is how I translate your information. Okay? You are so content with yourself that you can acknowledge this is my vulnerability. I know what's going on here, but no one can hurt you. And I really appreciate that bringing it up because so many other girls going to sit there and watch it and say, okay, so everyone feels insecure. I can feel insecure, but I still can be strong. I can feel like not happy with myself, but I can still achieve whatever I want in life. And your vulnerability, it was beautiful here. Okay? I'm acknowledging it.
Thank you so much. I think what it is when you are younger, you get wrapped in this self-importance, and there's the self-importance, and then there's the self-love. I think what we need to practice is to learn to break away from that self-importance knowledge, but never walk away from self-love. And I wish I had known this earlier when I was younger. But at the same time, like what got me to my success was that chip on my shoulder and that little bit of a grit, that hungry mentality, like all of that stuff. So I honestly do not regret anything from my past. Everything happened for a reason, good or bad.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for all of my experience. And I know that I am sitting here and on your podcast and talking about all of this. But me 10 years later is going to be different again. Me 1 year later is going to be different. Me 1 day later. Tomorrow, I'm a different person.
Yeah.
And I know that.
Yeah.
And what kind of person am I going to be in 20 years, 30 years?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to continue the expansion and the growth, and just know that the only competition, this is very cliche, but the only competition in the world is yourself. So
Yeah.